Well, good morning, everyone. Here we are. It's a July morning. We're at the Creation Museum. It's 9:10 Eastern Standard Time, 9:10 a.m. There are already people coming through the bookstore here. There's already a heap of people out there in the main hall. I tell you, the Creation Museum and the Ark have been incredibly busy. Thousands of people every day. Yesterday, Sunday afternoon, we're only open on the afternoons and Sunday. At the Ark we had over 4,000.
Wow.
And here at the Creation Museum we had 3,000.
Praise God.
I mean, it's just amazing. Hey, I know a lot of people want to be able to get quick answers to questions about the creation evolution issue. You know, because I do this on radio all the time. I get on radio and we have talk shows, and there'll be people that will call in and say, where did Cain get his wife? What about the dinosaurs? And how did Noah get the animals in the Ark? And you've got to be able to answer those like in 30 seconds each, or so, because they want to get through as many calls as possible. And a lot of times when you're talking to people, you don't have a lot of time to be able to talk to them, and they got all sorts of questions. So I have with me Brian Osborne.
Hey guys.
Brian's one of our speakers.
Yep.
And he talks all over America and even other parts of the world.
Sure.
And he's going to be doing more traveling.
I think so.
I was going to tell you, you got to do. we need more speakers to go over to England and places like
great.
that.
Absolutely.
So you're going to be involved in that.
Praise the
But
Lord.
Brian and my son-in-law Bodie
Right.
put together a real special book, and it's brand new, just came out, and it's called Quick Answers to Tough Questions. Now we have the Answers books. Actually, I was just here. They are up here. See the Answers books up there. Now those four by Brian Osborne.
I did most of the answering through my experience as a speaker for the ministry. But what it does, it goes through kind of the 7 C's. And answering questions as we go through the 7 C's. And we use that framework, not explicitly, but you see the framework as you go through. And what I love about this book in particular is we started with the first chapter as an introduction. Why this is important. So how this relates to biblical authority, what's going on in our culture today, how this is a worldview issue, how we need answers to defend the faith, to proclaim the gospel boldly. So we start with that. So we lay the foundation for why these answers are important. And then we go through a 7 C's framework to answer questions, and at the end we give the gospel and then share how we use these answers to proclaim the gospel.
So it's like when somebody says to me, call up on radio, okay, how do you explain the different races? Races, there's only one race. We're all descendants of Adam and Eve. Biologically, there's only one. An answer. It comes from the Greek word apologia. It's also translated defense. Give an answer, give a defense. So we specialize in apologetics. And I'll tell you what's missing from a lot of churches and Christian homes is the teaching of apologetics.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just down at the Billy Graham Conference Center, the Cove,
Yeah,
in North Carolina.
Nice.
Was down there on the weekend.
Yeah.
Had a great group of people there. And I tell you, they got it after I finished the series, because when they gave their testimony, they said, we're going back to our churches. We realize we've got to teach apologetics. In fact, our whole Answers Bible curriculum, our 4-year curriculum, because you go around speaking a lot about that, it's apologetics, biblical authority, chronological, through the whole Bible. Our VBS that we have just had a big church down in Big Southern Baptist Church down in Atlanta, 3,200 kids. And they used our VBS program, and they said phenomenal response, because it's apologetics, biblical authority, chronological. Our Sunday school curriculum, our VBS curriculum, there's nothing else like them in the world, because nobody does apologetics like this.
They don't, and I hear those testimonies all the time. I just did an article for the coming newsletter about 3 testimonies I received back-to-back here at the museum after I spoke. And one woman came up, she said, I just realized that God's word is true, and it invigorated her faith. One guy from New York said, as he walked through the museum, he said at times he was crying. He's an older gentleman. He says, I was crying because so many people need to hear this, especially where I'm from. Because it's so powerful. All of a sudden, you realize there are answers. You can defend.
Genesis.org, go up there and then click on Australia.
That's going to be special
like
for you.
They can click on England. Oh yeah, in fact I'll be in Australia. I'm speaking at a conference, a big Christian school conference next Monday, and then going back to speak at a major public conference in November in Australia. But yeah, our resources haven't been readily available in Australia, so we're going to make them available. And
That'd be awesome.
a little later this year, when we get the new stock of our 4-year Bible curriculum, we're going to send that over there as well. And we'll have to send this one over too.
Well, if you need an American speaker to go speak in Australia, I'll volunteer for that.
Well, actually, we want to increase the amount of speaking we're doing in other countries.
Sure.
And I know Brian is willing to do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a lot to travel. I've been doing that for 40 years. I'm getting old, I'm weary of all the travel and staying in hotels and eating restaurant food. And
so you can do that. Sure.
So we're just really excited this morning to tell you about this new book, Quick Answers to Tough Questions. Because we live in a culture now, people want to go on the internet and get something real quick.
Absolutely.
And so that's why we produce this. So let's see, if there are any questions anyone's asked. Nobody's asking a question this morning.
We got all the answers right here. They don't have any
that's
questions.
what it is. That's what it is. We've got all the answers.
And I did want to point out, if in the back of the book, what we did is we took each chapter in this